Hi, this is Don at Tapestry Music in Vancouver, 2705 Main Street at our new store. We're doing our big grand opening on July 5th on Saturday. It should be an amazing time. We're going to have some live music. Come by, check it out. I am here with a special guest right now for an interview. This is Jin Zhang. He is a professional and personal friend of mine. He's renowned in British Columbia as a conductor of orchestras, but he does a lot of other stuff. He's a composer, teacher, director. And I'd like you to tell the world a bit about yourself.
They're doing a lot, everything related with music, and also all different kinds of music, Western, Chinese. I've done with jazz musicians and multicultural, like Iran music and Japanese and Korean.
Film music, I believe.
Film music, yes,
yeah.
I have done film music too, and also my own interest also recently started with some visual stuff. I even tried working with 3D something.
Terrific.
Yeah, build something.
Yeah.
That's all my own interests,
Yeah.
and it's pretty wide.
Yeah.
And but music is the main thing what I'm doing, so. Very, very pleased to have this time to talk with you, with Don. We know each other for a long time.
Yes, many, many years.
Yeah.
I work with Jin. He's the music director and conductor of the Vancouver Philharmonic Orchestra. I'm concertmaster. I've worked with him in previous orchestras. We've worked in various pickup orchestras together, the theater orchestra, et cetera, et cetera. So one of your specialties, of course, is you live in Vancouver, you work here, your obviously background is in different cultures, and you compose music for Chinese instruments and ethnic instruments. And I'd love to learn more about how that works, what the listeners listen to. Like as myself, I'm a classical violinist. When I'm listening to music like Chopin or Debussy or Bartok or whatever, I have a certain expectation in mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about Chinese music, all of Asia really. So I'd love to learn more about it.
I understand that because now for music education around the world, it doesn't matter where you go, you can see people teach Western music. Everything from theory and playing instruments, everything, and concept and ideas, everything. Examples, they use this as standard. But for other kinds of music, kind of they don't really have time to touch them unless if you have some opportunity.
Right.
And you have some reason to work with this kind of music.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So what since we were together for a long time, many years ago. You played in a Sinfonietta.
Yes.
I conducted that was we did a concert that was a Chinese composition.
Yes.
It's Yellow River Cantata.
Yes, good memory.
That one gave me very deep impression on how if we meet with the different kind of music, how people understand it, the difference from different people, and see if it's the same notation, same music, but they play in different way.
Absolutely.
For example, when we had that cantata had a part, it's very lyric. It's called, it's all quarter note. Yeah, this is a very famous tone.
Yes.
Many Chinese people, if they hear the tone, they know what it is.
Okay.
When we first time to play it, it was a quarter note.
Yeah.
How we play the quarter note in Western orchestra, we do.
I did full vibrato on. I know.
That was.
Yes, I had a little bit of learning to do about the culture.
Yeah. Then direct impression about the notes and how to play the notes. That's you learn. This is what you learn.
Yes.
That, when the Chinese people, if they see that, if they know the tone, they will immediately turn different way. They will connect all the quarter notes to make it like even you didn't write any slur, that they will play slur.
Yeah.
They don't detach it.
But they know because it's something they've grown up with.
That's right.
It's
that's
almost
right.
like a folk music that's so famous to them.
That's right. That's also part of the reason when I conduct the orchestra, sometimes if with a lot of mixed people from mixed cultural background, even if you demand detachment sometimes, you have to repeat it many times. People naturally just do connecting with each note, right?
Right.
Ta, ta, ta. With the detachment, you really have to keep everything in control and very focused, right? As you're a violinist, you know that.
Yes.
Right. So that's, that time I was really impressed and remember it forever.
Yes, me too. I learned a lot very fast in that.
Yeah. So that's why when you ask about this example, immediately it comes to my mind.
Yeah.
I think this is a very good example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've discovered a fair bit of other stuff because since that time we've done some concerts together where there are famous melodies. Not with you, but with another conductor, I did a famous violin concerto. I forget what it's called.
Departure for Fly?
Yes.
That's Chinese
Yes.
one, right?
And there's some very fast parts in it and a fair bit of playing where there's glissandos, I call them. In
glissando,
violin,
yes.
it's like, da,
Yeah.
da, da. And it's written in for us European notation folk to understand how to play it, right? So we get what to do. Inherently, we can play it, but we don't necessarily get the feel right and the sound right. So that's something, again, culturally,
Right, yeah.
someone just sees, you have the name of the melody in there. And those people who grew up with that immediately know how to play it.
That's right.
But that's not me. So I again, had to learn a lot. And so here, you're dealing with orchestras that are a mix of people who would know that stuff and those who wouldn't. How do you deal with that? Like, how do you teach that to people?
Yeah, because I understand how they think about this and how they understand the music. When you put the sheet music in front of them, they say everybody see the same thing, but their reaction is different.
Okay.
Right, and certainly if you deal with early music, like we just did the concert, we played Handel,
Yes.
and
Vivaldi,
yeah. Immediately you need to think about how to deal with the music with the sound, not the contemporary sound, modern sound, right? You have to think about it immediately. But for people, if they never educated in that way, they won't think about it. They just do it. Like we did Chopin. I said Chopin was so angry.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons some young guys.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's okay. So for me, the first time I played anything by Vivaldi as a musician, I had already grown up listening to the piece of music on records, right? So I knew the expectation of what to play. So even though I'm looking at the music, I'm like, I know this.
Yeah.
So I play with the correct articulation. I play with a certain amount of vibrato or less, and the bow style is different. But again, if someone comes in there and they've never done that, or they just don't like Baroque music, so they've never tried, the attitude is going to be different.
That's right.
So for me, that's my experience. But again, it's all European music for me.
Yeah.
And maybe American or whatever, like you mentioned, like Aaron Copland, George Gershwin.
Yeah.
It's American classical
Right.
music, right? But classical is not,
But-
I'm not talking classical in a period. I just mean it's orchestral music or whatever, right? But outside of America, Europe, maybe Russia, certain areas of the world, we don't get a lot of exposure, or we didn't until fairly recently get a lot of exposure to the Orient, to Asia, to all, there's so many different cultures there even, and I would imagine, for example, like just on the big scale, Japan, China, the cultural themes are completely different from each other, and the melodies and the songs that are culturally strong.
Yeah.
There's probably, like with Russia, there's political stuff that comes into it. There's going to be all sorts of reasons for different melodies to be famous.
Right.
And I bet the attitude of playing it is different, and the musicians play differently.
Yeah.
So when you're here and you're getting musicians like me, classical musicians, trained music readers to play it.
Right.
I know one of the things you've done is, as you just did for me now, you'll sing a melody to give
Yeah.
an example of this is how it should come across.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone understands what that means. But those of us that are very intellectual still have a hard time getting out of our heads and just making the music.
Right.
It's almost like playing by ear instead of reading music.
Right. Yeah. So that very, because the melody I was singing was related with folk music.
Okay.
And, the violin concerto you mentioned, that one, they also use the folk music, the tone.
The melodies come
the
from
melody,
it. Yeah.
So that's why, the style is there, even it's not written in the music with many, many details. But when people, if you have that experience, you listen to that music before, and even you can sing some part of it, then immediately you relate with your experience with this, what you're seeing, right?
Yes.
Then you know how to deal with that.
Okay.
If here has never happened before, of course, when you see the music, you relate it with what you learned before from a different culture.
Exactly.
Then the style will be very different too.
Yes.
So that's why, when people come and put it together with a mixed cultural background, when they see the music, their background directs them what to do.
Right.
That's why, you hear so many different things happening at the same time.
Understood. Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you also are a composer,
Yeah.
as well as a conductor, and your own compositions. What instruments do you target, or what cultures do you target?
Mm-hmm.
Is it British Columbia? Is it international music? What do you do?
That's very difficult to me to answer, even, identify myself now.
Right.
The reason is I did my first CD of my album composition. I worked with an recording engineer
Yes.
who originally he was Italian.
Okay.
Once we sit in the commercial street to have coffee, and there was a guy came in. He said, "Hey, I have a friend coming." Then, okay, I'll introduce you. Okay. Then he introduced his friend. This is Jin. He is a Chinese composer, but he doesn't write Chinese music.
That's funny.
I was really surprised
Yeah.
he said that.
That's very interesting.
Then,
Did he mean because it's using classical instruments, or what?
no, that's Chinese instruments.
No, it is. Huh.
Even my son was born here.
Yes.
When I start to compose, I have commission, right?
Yeah.
Then I start to work my new composition.
Yes.
He said, "Oh, you start to compose again?" He said, "When you start to compose, you're boring." I said, "Why?" He said, "You don't answer questions. You don't have any reaction when we talk to you."
Yeah.
That's the first reason. The second reason, you write Chinese music. To me, something is pretty boring because the rhythm or everything. Oh, okay.
So he's very Canadianized.
Yeah, because
right?
he was born here,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So his culture is more here.
That's right. Yeah. But after many years, we walk in the store, and we test some sound system. I said, "Oh, I'll play my new composition. You listen." I said, "You may not like it because this may be Chinese music." He said, "No, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right now, what your composition is not in Chinese." I was surprised again.
Wow.
because all of these music, the content actually is from the Chinese culture.
Yes.
But then I asked the engineer. He said, I said, "See my CD, everything, almost everything. There's only one piece from different place. All of others are from Chinese, traditional
Melodies or
stories
Okay.
or legends." He said, "No, not that. Your music language is different."
Oh, okay.
He said, "I'm sure the listener, Western people, understand music more than Chinese
Okay. Yes.
Then I thought you were right, because in the Chinese audience, only people who understand music, really understand music, they are interested in music, or they want to learn something new, or they're a musician.
Right.
Then they can talk about the music more, with some details, with some ideas, and with some real artistic impression, right?
Right.
For normal audience, probably they just simply say, I don't understand that.
Right. Unless they have the cultural background to associate
Right.
with
Even
it.
you tell them a story.
Yeah.
This, I don't know.
So that's why you can't answer, is it
That's
Chinese
right.
or
I cannot
it's
answer
everything
it.
mushed together,
yes.
right?
Yeah. So it's just, merge.
Yeah.
And then later on, because I heard that, then later on, when I meet some musicians and when they play my music, I always ask, what do you think of my music? Is it Chinese or not? Or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Many answers are, it's mixed. Sometimes it goes that way, sometimes it goes that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a merge of styles.
That's right.
You could call it world music,
Yeah, because that's, because everything merged in my body.
Yes.
Naturally, I will think about the music in that way.
Okay.
So that's why, people want, it's not a typical Chinese music. However, it still has some Chinese music taste in there.
Okay.
Because some materials, and sometimes I do something intentionally to get some articulation or some different way to explore the Chinese song, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but for music itself, it's hard to tell what it is.
Fair enough.
That happens in many artists.
It absolutely does, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, if you think of, again, like Bartok and people like that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Look at the background there.
Yeah.
His heritage was strongly involved in his music.
Right.
But his music broke down boundaries around the world.
That's right,
the genre
exactly.
creation. When it comes to performing your music live, do you specifically look for people of a certain ethnicity to associate with performing it, or do you care more about okay, you're brilliant at the erhu, or you're brilliant at piano? I don't care if you're white or pink or brown or whatever. Right? It doesn't make no difference what your culture is or your background is. If you're skilled at it, you'll get them to do the music the way you want.
You appreciate everything. You think you like it, right?
Yeah.
So, and also you like it or not like it. It's not depends on what you hear, the background or everything. You need to go there and listen and watch their performance.
Right.
Then you will start to have idea on you like this or not. Then you have certain reason you like it or not. And also sometimes people always say something, it's a good thing a lot. I like it. Yeah. Then some people are very negative. They always say something bad.
Yes.
Then people ask me, what do you think about it? I think actually say something bad is even more difficult, because if you say it generally I don't like it or it's bad, it's just something wrong. If you really point out what is
the specific thing.
That's right. Yeah. Why you don't like it and where you think it's not good enough to you, that's really difficult.
Yes.
That's not easy.
No, it's not.
Right. So good things actually it's not hard to point out.
Yeah, I agree completely.
And also because the bad things, if you point out, you see how many people agree and how many people they don't agree.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You can say that's my personal choice. If you forget it, you do something more genuine.
Yes.
And that's really hard.
Well, I mean, music is both subjective and objective, right?
That's right.
Subjectively, you can like or not like something.
Right.
You don't even have to explain why or understand why.
Right.
Objectively, is it effectively written and was it done correctly and does it accomplish what the composer wanted?
Right.
That's objectively.
Yeah.
You can measure that.
Right.
But subjectively, it's your creation.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to like it.
Right.
Although I think everyone does, because I mean, you're like doing the Canadian Music Center thing. And, yeah, you're pretty well renowned. But,
Right.
But so do you have do you have some upcoming concerts in the next while?
In August, we will have a concert in Surrey.
Okay.
We received a grant from Surrey City. And then we will, it's autumn celebration.
Yes.
That's part of the Chinese traditional culture.
Terrific.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
For when you did the CD, were there any special requirements for trying to record the instruments? Was it just they throw an SM57 on it and you're good to go, or do you have to use special recording setups to record these authentic instruments and stuff?
Actually, for Chinese instruments, the environment of recording is not that demanding.
Okay, that's good.
And choosing right microphone for the instruments, I think that is the important part.
Okay, yeah. So for that sort of stuff, I know you're pretty technical about this
Yeah,
stuff. Condenser mic, wide diaphragm, like omnidirectional, very very directional. Large, small? What do you like to use for picking up the subtle details of instruments?
Yeah, mostly for the studio recording, of course, I use condenser microphone more than others.
Okay.
Yeah, because you want to hear more details and you want to pick more and more. Then when you cut them off, then you feel you have something to work with. Right. And if you get something less, then you just stay with that. There's no more room to go.
For sure.
This is psychology, right or not, it's hard to say, but this psychology is people always understand. That's why you turn the volume as loud as you can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to get the material sounding good at the source.
Yeah.
I know when I've recorded people, if the performance doesn't sound good, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you have a great performance with a good sound, just put at a microphone that won't color it. And it reveals all the details. Yeah. Because as you know, when you're mixing later, you're going to have a hard time fitting everything in without losing some of it.
Right.
Interference between the microphones, interference between the parts.
Right.
Blending that is very difficult, but if you have it all there, that's good.
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of mixing yourself when you work with engineers? Do you sit in with them as you're doing the production and mixing to get levels, or?
Yeah, I worked with engineer only at that time. Okay. And during working with the engineer, I learned a lot. Yeah. Then I asked him, said, can I do some of them by myself? He said, of course. You can take it. I can give you some plug-in. This is a very nice guy. He passed away, you know. Oh, yeah. I just don't want to mention his name, but
that's fine.
It's a very long time ago.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
And,
So this is all done in a digital audio workstation?
Yeah. I learned a lot from him. Then I watched YouTube and try by myself. Yeah. And, I think gathered a lot of experience. In choosing microphone, that's really important. It doesn't mean expensive one. No, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to be appropriate. Yeah, that's right. That's right. One, for example, we had a project to record a guqin, which is a very ancient Chinese music, Chinese instrument. Yes. It's like this, and put some strings. There's no body to make sound. Okay, it's a very quiet instrument. Yes, I know the You know that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And we use the very expensive microphone first, then come down. We tried about 3 different microphones, and then finally we used a pretty old version to get the sound. You feel it's ancient instrument and ancient music. It is, yes. Right? Yes. Yeah, you don't want to have really modern sound, No, absolutely. Right. If it's ancient music, because you want just the natural tone coming through. Right. That was for the TV, the MV,
Oh, yeah.
for fire child or child fire.
Yeah, I think something. I remember. Yeah, that was quite a success.
Yeah.
You were, I believe, nominated for.
Yeah.
It
It was a really big work.
For
That
sure.
that instrument was very hard to mix.
I'm sure.
Even though it's just to do the solo part, because it creates so much harmonics, and and the tone is very different too, and a lot of glissando.
Yes.
When you try to fix something,
Yes.
it's really hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything is just like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, do you have any besides the concert that you're going to be doing in Surrey? What do you have coming up? Are you working on any new projects? What do you have coming up in the future?
We still with music video. We were doing some music video.
Great.
Yeah.
Terrific.
And this is really popular right now,
Yes.
especially after pandemic. We started to do that more seriously after pandemic. Actually, we had a channel very long time ago, but never took care of it. But after the pandemic, we thought, that's one of the way to explore your music and your ideas.
Absolutely.
This is really good way to go.
Yeah, terrific. Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put links to your information in the
sure,
video
sure,
too, so
sure.
people can take a look.
Yeah.
And of course, we work together in orchestras, the Vancouver Philharmonic. So we've got our season starting up in, I guess our first performance will be September, October probably.
September.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll be rehearsing.
Concert's
Concert's going to be in October.
yes.
Yeah. And we've got a busy schedule coming up.
Yeah.
The year again.
Busy stuff. Yeah.
And in the coming season, are we doing anything with Asian instruments?
Yes,
I think we are.
We are
right?
talking with intercultural orchestra.
Yes.
Try to get some multicultural instruments.
Terrific.
To come to the orchestra and have some different kinds of music.
Okay, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Terrific. We'll have to watch our volume levels because again, that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
We also worked with your wife in performance, June.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
She's an erhuist.
Yeah, erhu.
Which is the violin. It's like the two-string vertical violin with the bow that goes between them. It's
That's right.
fascinating.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how she plays it,
They
but she's
go
brilliant.
in and out to play two strings.
Yeah,
right?
up and down
Two
is like
different directions.
I don't understand that. It's
Yeah.
amazing. If I played violin like that, I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
Then you can play violin this way.
Yeah, I could try. I guess. Yeah, it's not quite
This
the
is
same.
very like a long time ago. People played
I don't
violin.
think I'd be.
that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to pull it off. But I remember when we performed with her, the levels are complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because the instrument doesn't project. It has a big
Right.
sound, but it's in a small space.
Right.
And
Okay,
so the orchestra.
body just that big.
Yeah, and all of us, we've got like
We have
18,
to-
20 violins all
Right.
facing out to the audience.
Yeah.
So we had to watch levels and blend, and we learned a lot about listening to the
Right.
soloist for that
Right,
because
yeah.
it was such a completely different style of music.
Right. Yeah.
But it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that.
That's cool.
We'll have to do more of that. But yeah, okay. Well, thanks very much for coming in. Maybe
my
we'll do this
pleasure.
again sometime and
Sure,
talk
sure,
about more stuff.
sure.
Okay,
Sure.
terrific.
Okay.
This is Jin Zhang.
Yeah.
I'm Don Kelly. We're at Tapestry Music, 2705 Main Street. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Come check us out. Again, July 5th, our grand opening. And you can check out all of his links. We'll have full references online. He's a very busy guy. And we'll see you around. Have a good day.
Have a good day.